Hey everybody, Movie Reviewer Next Door here, and I'm back with another review. And I know it's been a bit, had issues with my computer. Guess y'all might have seen my video where I got hacked. So I basically lost everything on my computer. For now, I seem to be okay, but wanted to come back with something I've been meaning to get to and just didn't know exactly when to watch. And that was Silent Night. This is a 2023 action thriller film directed by John Woo, and it stars Joel Kinnaman, Kid Cudi, Harold Torres, and where'd her name? I can't find her name. But yeah. In this film, a tormented father witnesses his young son die when caught in a gang's crossfire on Christmas Eve. While recovering from a wound that costs him his voice, he makes vengeance his life's mission and embarks on a punishing training regimen in order to avenge his son's death. So, what did I think of Silent Night? Well, I've been looking forward to this. I saw the reviews. They're very mixed, insanely mixed. Letterboxd, this has a 2.4 out of 5. IMDb, I think this has a 5.4, which I'm so intrigued to know why it's that low. But in all honesty, do I love this film, or would I ever watch it above other John Woo films? No. But is it 2.4 on Letterboxd or 5.4 on IMDb bad? No. No fucking way. This beats out so many other action movies that are considered masterpieces from the past year or two. Would I watch this over Beekeeper? Probably not. Yeah, I'd rather watch a David Ayer movie than a John Woo movie, but something about the premise and something about the execution didn't 100% click, but overall it's still it's still a very enjoyable film. I'll say that. Let me get to the cast. Then I have to talk about John Woo. Joel Kinnaman plays Brian Godlock. I think he does a good job as a father whose son is taken away from him and then he loses his voice because he gets shot in the throat. Joel Kinnaman has been in other films I've seen. I saw him in a movie I guess a lot of people don't know about, called The Informer, which was kind of a, I guess, under the radar film. It was based off some Norwegian book or something, I think. But I like that film. I'd rather watch that than this. But yeah, I don't hate him as an actor. I do think in the right role he can be very good. And I think here he does a good job. Kid Cudi, or Scott Mescudi, plays Detective Dennis Vassell. He's a detective, I guess, on the case. He doesn't really show up until the very end of the film, where he kind of helps our main character. That's about it. He doesn't really do a lot. But he's fine. He doesn't really do much. He gets one cool action beat, which I was like, damn, Kid Cudi trained for that one small bit. That's impressive. And Harold Torres is Playa, our villain, who is kind of very underdeveloped, insanely underdeveloped. You're supposed to know that he's a bad guy because he's cartel, and I'm not saying it's a racial thing, and I will comment on that because I've seen a lot of people on Letterboxd commenting on it. But I thought he was threatening enough. But let's first talk about John Woo. John Woo is an insanely inspirational director. Many directors' styles of action are basically either lifted from or paying tribute to John Woo. A lot of reviews on, I've talked multiple times about how it's stupid to compare every single action movie or every single revenge movie to John Wick, given that there are many way better revenge movies, better action movies. And again, I'm not devaluing that John Wick 1 and 3 are at least really good, because I'm not. I do still think John Wick 1 and 3 are really good. 2 is good, but has some major pacing issues in the first half. And 4 is meh at best for me. But the absolute gall that these people have to say that this film is ripping off John Wick really pisses me off. Nothing about this movie is ripping off John Wick. John Wick is literally about a shadowy group of assassins that operate under a secret code, and a guy is getting revenge for the death of his dog. What happens in this movie? A normal everyday man basically loses his son in a gang-related shooting from the his son gets in the crossfire of a gang shooting. He runs after the shooters, gets shot in the throat, and then trains in order to get revenge. What part of that has anything to fucking do with John Wick? Tell me. Tell me. I want to hear someone comment and say what one thing that makes this a John Wick ripoff. Because the fact that anyone is saying John Woo is ripping off Chad Stahelski in any fucking way, when all of the John Wick movies would not exist if not for John Woo's fucking classics. I've got quite a few of his movies here. My favorite action film ever. Everything in this movie is a million times better than any of the John Wick films ever could be. Because you have a committed cast, very committed when it comes to the action, flipping around, jumping, actually getting injured, actually being next to explosions, no CGI whatsoever, a one take that is insanely impressive in the hospital where you're blowing chunks out of walls and running through and shooting people, characters that make mistakes. John Wick never makes a fucking mistake. This character does. The character that he's working with, played by Tony Leung, makes multiple mistakes. Like, this beats the John Wick movies out of the fucking water any fucking day. No one can tell me that the John Wick movies, even the fourth one that people keep saying is the holy grail of action, the hard-boiled of our generation. How about you watch this again? This is a shitty Blu-ray, though. The Dragon Dynasty Blu-ray is not that good. And also it's missing a feature. It says Stranglehold video game making of, which I do like that game. It is technically a sequel to this, like, story-wise. And it is a really fun game. Y'all should play it. Stranglehold. But I'm not gonna get stuck in the Hong Kong rescue thing, but fucking fantastic action movie. The Killer, also a not great Blu-ray. Dragon Dynasty does have a lot of hits and misses. Really good action movie. The Killer. I know a lot of people will say this is better than Hardboiled. I can't exactly go that far, but really fucking good action movie with Chow Yun-fat again, Danny Lee, Salier. Yeah. I haven't seen Blackjack, but I recently got it on my birthday, and I'm gonna do a birthday movie haul, but he got to work with Dolph Lundgren. That's insane. Wind Talkers. Paycheck. A very underrated John Woo film. Maybe if I re-watch it, I won't give it a 10, but it is a very underrated film, very interesting sci-fi premise, very fun action, fun characters, very cool premise to this film. I'd say the gimmick of this film works a bit better than Silent Night. Hard Target. Awesome Jean-Claude Van Damme action film. Insane action. Again, no CGI. Broken Arrow, a lot of fun. Christian Slater, one of his best roles in my opinion. Face Off. Hell, I'd probably take Mission Impossible 2 over John Wick Chapter 4. I probably would. Not even joking. So, that's how we get here, to the point where people are accusing a John Woo movie of being a ripoff of John Wick. Can I laugh in your face? Can I actually laugh in your face? But let me get to the actual movie, because it is 10 minutes in, and it's just been a rant about John Woo, and I haven't seen most of John Woo's movies, but watching this, you can tell he knows what he's doing. Even a movie like this that is not one of his best movies is still very enjoyable. And the fact that people are review bombing this is review bombing. They're review bombing it because they're like, oh, it's supposed to be so much better. Every John Woo movie has to be perfect. No director is perfect. No director in history that has made over, let's say, 10 movies hasn't made at least one movie that the major consensus is that it's either okay or bad. That's just a fact about filmmaking. Not every movie is going to hit 100%. Do I think that this gimmick could work to make a fantastic action movie? Yes. Do I think he had some maybe not limitations, but do I think he maybe had some issues doing this exactly the way he wanted? I don't know. I don't know how producers work. Apparently Chris Stuckman does. Apparently Chris Stuckman knows that the reason Madam Web sucks isn't the directors, isn't the writer, isn't the actors. It's all the producers. And it only happened to S.J. Clarkson because she's a woman, apparently. What do I know? But the massive consensus of why this movie is bad is, 1, vigilantism. 2, it's a John Wick ripoff, which it's not. It has nothing plot-wise, it has nothing to do with John Wick. The main character has nothing in common with John Wick. John Wick was, like, they're both driven by emotions, but that's not enough to say that it's a ripoff at all. And also, I gotta say the action looks a lot better in this than John Wick Chapter 2 and 4. But, and also, they say this film is racist. They say this about every movie where a cartel, the villains are part of a cartel, which is stupid. Cartels are evil. They're run by evil people. They do evil things. I don't care who hears me say it. If you're part of a cartel, you're evil. Because cartels mainly deal in human trafficking, drug trafficking, and murder. Murder of innocent civilians. So I can understand why they made them the main villains, because they accidentally kill, well, accidentally, they didn't really care who got hit. They're having a firefight between cars and a stray bullet hits a kid. So yeah, they deserve it, and cartel people are not good people. Anyways, this movie is very simple. I can say that can be a blessing and a curse for this movie. Is that you have the story, which is literally just guy's kid gets shot, he goes after them, gets shot in the throat, recovers, and then in order to get over the death of his son, he goes on a revenge spree. Now, this type of movie has been done before. Everybody knows this. Revenge movies have been done for forever. The reviews saying this is somehow a conservative film because of how it does the revenge. That's stupid. You should say the same thing about John Wick, but you won't, because John Wick is a fucking idol. You worship John Wick because it's Keanu Reeves. But, yeah, that's not what this is. This is not conservative propaganda. Shut up. Just watch the fucking movie. Yes, from the producer of John Wick, Basil Awanik, or whatever the fuck the person's name is. Basil Awanik, whatever. Yes, from that producer. That doesn't matter. That has nothing to do with anything. Do I wish that the villain was better handled? That he had more of a character? Yes. it is kind of hard to build character without the dialogue, and I can see what John Woo was trying to do here, where he's trying to make a bit of a more simple, like, straightforward action film. He's not trying to make this, like, weaving plot of double crossing, of intrigue, of suspense, of all that, like he was with Hard Boiled or what else? The Killer. He's not trying to make another, like, Yojimbo type thing, or what's the other one? The I can't think of what it's called. The one where it's like few dollars more, or no, Fistful of Dollars. He's not trying to make it like that. It's a straightforward revenge tale. Main character shoots bad guys, gets revenge, gets retribution for the death of his son, that whole thing. I don't have an issue with that. I don't think most people who like action movies and seek out action movies because they want an action movie do that. It seems like a lot of these reviews are coming from people who didn't want an action movie and wanted something to bitch about. Now, am I saying everybody's opinion is null and void? No, I'm not. If you want to give legitimate criticism to a film, unlike Chris Stuckman, yes, I'm going to keep doing that because it's true. If you're giving it legitimate criticism based on its filmmaking, based on how the film is made, or how it executes certain things, yes, to me, your opinion is valid. If your opinion is just, oh, the movie's racist because a person of this race plays the villain, then I have nothing I can assume from what you're saying other than malice. Other than, oh, the movie reminded you of something from your past, so you're taking out your anger on the movie. Or you just had a bad day and wanted to take it out on a movie that doesn't deserve it. I'm glad I'm not friends with those people. Because I could not stand being friends with somebody who's constantly like, oh my god, how could you watch this movie? It's so racist. It's like some shit that people who watch Fox News would watch. Like, I cannot bear being with somebody like that. Again, I keep getting off topic. This film doesn't have a ton to it. Now, the reason it's an 8 and not higher, even though I really did like the action near the end, the pacing is a bit spotty. It goes from, you've got this really cool, really nice chase scene near the beginning, really cool, like, car hits into a fire extinguisher, flips over in slow motion. You have that bang up opening, and then it kind of just goes to, oh, just normal action movie. Or, well, not a normal action movie. I can bleh. It's been a while since I've done this. My mouth is, I'm not, I have to get used to talking again. To a camera. No less. But, I know what the film's trying to do. It's trying to have the build up so that you have the action climax, but it kind of waits a bit too long to get into it. There's small action scenes leading up to it, but it takes until about an hour into this movie to really get to the full-on, like, action scenes. Like, you have a car chase that's fun, where he's shooting at the guys, and there's a bit where there's two guys in front and behind him, and he's basically stuck there so they can keep shooting at him. That's a fun sequence. The bit at the end where he hits a guy, and then he goes through this glass, and it's slow motion, and you see the glass hit the ground. I don't know if it's CGI glass, it probably is, or sugar glass, but it looked really weird there. But it was still an interesting shot. There's some really cool shots in this. There's the staircase sequence that is a faux one take, which faux one takes, I kind of tend to like those more, because I'm like, oh, you're actually trying to make it more complicated. And if you can't do a one shot that has a bunch of stuff in it, then it's kind of just not that impressive. But the faux one shot up the staircase is really fun. There are trademark things of John Woo in this. You don't I will say you don't see people diving and jumping and shit, which I would have preferred. I do want him to do at least one more of those types of movies, because from what I saw, his other movie that he did, the fuck was it called? Mayhem or something? Let's see if I can find it. Manhunt. Yeah. Manhunt didn't seem to really do that either. But I haven't seen it. But this film is really just a fun action movie. I can't say it has all of Woo's like loved things. Like, it doesn't have really the 80s/90s style of music that the like Hard Boiled and Killer have that I love so much. I love the score of Hard Boiled. Even if it is a bit goofy at times, it still works. The film is very downbeat in a lot of ways. It is very... There is no real let up from the anger or the grief or anything other than the action scenes. And I do think maybe not... Maybe you don't need a comedic element to the film, but at least something to break up all of the stuff, like, so that it's not just action, sad scene, action, sad scene. Like, do something to break that up. But still, the film, I'd say, is worth a watch if you're a John Woo fan, if you can get through the fact that this isn't one of his best movies. A lot of the reviews said different. There is such a thing as too much build-up, and I think this film did a bit too much build-up to the action, to the point where you're like, okay, get it going. I want the action now. But still, I do think it's a fun movie. Would I ever watch it again? Maybe for Christmas. But there is also Violent Night and Fat Man, which Fat Man was... It's my favorite Christmas action film I've seen so far. Yes, I liked Fat Man more than Violent Night. Violent Night had some issues for me, but I still really liked it. But yeah, that's about all I have left to say. But that was my review of Silent Night. If you've seen the film, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. If you have any recommendations, put those down there as well. And movie reviewer next door.